Well, welcome everybody to episode 57 of the Paws Up Podcast as we continue to add more and more sports here at FIU Athletics to our collection of guests we've had on the show. We're happy to introduce another sport to the mix. First off, I am Jake Gibson, joined alongside my friends and co-hosts Kevin Barral and Jonathan Mayer. And we are very fortunate to welcome Bailey Grossenbacher from the FIU Softball team. Bailey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
Great.
It's been a busy day. It's going to be a busy weekend. Bailey, as always, when we have athletes on the show, we got to know when you began to fall in love with the sport that you play, which, of course, is softball. So at what point did you begin playing softball casually, and at what point did you start to take it very seriously?
I started playing when I was 8 years old, and I just played like on a local team, and I didn't think much of it at the time, but my mom grew up playing up softball, and I always just looked up to her, and I wanted to just try it out, and she taught me how to pitch, and I enjoyed pitching for a couple of years, and then once I hit probably 7th or 8th grade, I realized that I should probably take this seriously. And I joined a travel ball team based out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And so every weekend we were driving about 6 or 7 hours because I'm from Inglewood, Florida. And we would go play up there. And then, so I was like, okay, if we're going to do all this driving, might as well take this seriously. And I realized I fell in love with the sport around probably 8th grade. So like I said before, I started out pitching in middle school.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to meet a coach through that relationship that I had with my pitching coach. And she was like, okay, do you want to play Division I softball? And I said, yes. And she basically said to give up on pitching and focus on hitting. And ever since then, I went all in with hitting. And yeah, it's my favorite thing about the game.
Well, speaking of hitting, your high school career at Lemon Bay, you got a lot of awards, right? Athlete of the Year, 2019 district champion. But the one thing I saw that that blows me away, you're still the career home run leader in high school. So I just got to know that's a one of a kind feat for someone to have, Bailey. Just how does it feel to this day hold a distinction like that back in your time in high school?
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite accomplishments. And yeah, I was just really happy that I could break the home run record, especially when COVID hit my senior year of high school. And like that last game that we had, I hadn't broken the record yet, but my dad came up to me before the game. He was like, okay, you're going to have to break the record this game if you want to break it. And I ended up hitting 2 back-to-back home runs that game, so it was pretty cool
Awesome.
to have that happen. And yeah, then COVID hit and we didn't have any more games after that.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit about travel ball. You played with the East Cobb Bullets in Georgia. Just talk about that experience and how do you think that kind of prepared you for FIU?
That experience was awesome, actually. I played with a lot of really good players that are playing at like a lot of big name schools right now. So it's cool how successful they're doing right now, and just traveling around with them in high school and middle school is such a fun experience to do.
Do you have any good stories from those days?
I have to think back, but
maybe a game in particular that you guys enjoyed, or a trip, or any of that type of stuff.
Definitely one of my favorite trips was going to California with the team. We just played really well that tournament, and we went all the way to the final and almost won it. Unfortunately, we didn't, but it was just a great trip and made a lot of fun experiences doing that.
And obviously you talked about, you're from Inglewood, right near Fort Myers. When you were in the recruiting process of going into colleges and looking at schools, was there always a possibility of going to school, in the state of Florida, or are you always looking at any place that would, take you in and bring you to Division I school?
I definitely wanted to stay in Florida. I like the warm weather. I like the beach. And for a long time, my number one choice was UCF. So I was going to a lot of their camps, and actually their pitching coach moved to FIU, and that's how I got that relationship. And I went to one of the FIU camps, and I just fell in love with the school. And Yeah, I've loved it ever since I committed here my sophomore year of high school.
Not to say that Miami and Inglewood, which as I understand near Fort Myers, are super different locations here in South Florida, but moving closer to the 305 to FIU, when you initially made it to campus, just what were you thinking about this, the city you are now in and the campus that you have to call yourself home?
It definitely was very different from Inglewood, very diverse, but I love that about the school. So I knew I was getting myself into something like awesome when I came onto this campus, and I don't know, I've just enjoyed it. I love going to the beach every day. I go to the pool all the time, and I've met so many people from all over the world here, and I just love it.
Before we talk about the freshman season at FIU, I did kind of want to circle back to something you would talk about, which was COVID in your senior season at high school, I believe. Just talk a bit about how it was. Did getting recruited to FIU and other colleges, how big of an impact did COVID hit you as far as getting your talents and getting your skills out there to the rest of Division One?
So at the time I was already committed to FIU, so
Okay.
I was pretty much settled down with that idea, but like mentally it kind of screwed me up with COVID because that whole summer we couldn't play, and I was upset about high school season being over. And then my freshman year, COVID, like we were getting tested probably 2 times a week. I don't remember now, but yeah, that was just a lot for a freshman year of college. But it's definitely got a lot better. But COVID was definitely a toll on my mental awareness. But yeah, it was good.
I guess looking back at it, like, you know, committing at that as early as a sophomore, you see that more often nowadays. But back then, it wasn't that that common, I would say. I mean, for you to make that commitment that early on, how sure were you, on FIU back then?
I was 100% sure because I just love the beach so much. So the beach was right there. I couldn't pass that up. And I love the warm weather. I love the diversity in the school. The campus is beautiful. I love the coaches. And yeah, I knew 100%. And I've loved it ever since. So I made the right decision for sure.
All right, so let's finally get into your time at FIU actually playing softball, which began in 2021. COVID was still around us. It was still around everywhere. And, of course, in your freshman year, just talk about in your 23 games of work, you still made 13 starts as a freshman. Just what did you really learn during that process that helped build you to your second year?
I definitely learned that college ball is different than what I experienced in high school and travel ball. Like it's a lot more serious, and definitely things were not going the way I wanted to when I was hitting sometimes. So it was just really frustrating that year. But I learned a lot about myself and how I can overcome those problems. And so yeah, each year honestly got much better every year.
I guess in your viewpoint, how different was travel ball from collegiate baseball? I mean, collegiate softball.
It was way different. The game was just completely like different. I don't even know how to explain it, but like travel ball was more fun, if that makes sense. And now I had to come to college and treat it almost as if it was a job. And my freshman year, I almost like didn't even have fun playing. But then I learned that, like I said, each year got better, and I learned that I just need to enjoy the game and enjoy the people around me, and appreciate every day that I'm playing softball.
So let's get into that junior season. Obviously, things did not go your way. Suffered a season-ending injury 6 games in. So, what were you doing during that time you couldn't play? And reflecting a little bit back to 2023, just how do you reflect on a season that you hardly got to play in?
I thought of it as a good opportunity to just relax because, like I said, my freshman and sophomore year, I wasn't really proud of the things I did hitting wise. And I was like, okay, this is a good time to take a break. Like I've never had a break in softball before. I've never had an injury, and then travel ball all those years before that. So I thought it was a good time to just chill. Like mentally and physically. And then that summer, I actually got an opportunity to work with a professional softball team to intern for them. And as my hand got better, they let me practice with them throughout the summer. And yeah, I just got a ton of experience live at bats, and the head coach let me practice with them every day. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And yeah, and I think working with them every day definitely made me a lot better player, because this year has just been like awesome. So I just really appreciate the experience I had with them.
That was the Florida vibe, right? The Florida vibe over in Bradenton.
Yeah, so not too far away from my house. It was like such a fun experience.
What are some things that you learned, I guess, about your game that you're now applying to now this season, at your time there with the internship?
I learned, honestly, that I just need to have fun and not take it too seriously when I'm playing. And a lot of those girls taught me how to treat the game. I noticed when I was just watching them play, the professional softball players, that they were just all so loving towards each other, and they were just having fun. I was like, okay, wait, I should treat this softball game like that. Let's have fun when we go out there. So this year, I really didn't take it seriously at all. And it definitely has helped a lot. So.
And that reflects, this year has been great for you. 6 home runs, which is tied for the team lead, 28 RBIs, which leads the team, 360 batting average. And really all year long, you've been really consistent. You did a home run yesterday against Stetson. So talk about your offense this year and just really producing at a high level for the offense this season.
So yeah, I went into this year, like I said, I'm going to have fun and I'm going to play loose, and yeah, it's just been working. And, every week I have my own little routine. I'll hit off the tee before, the day before the game with, Ashton Linsdale. And, yeah, so I pretty much have my routine going, and I've been going in with a strong mindset of just having fun and playing loose, and it's working.
So the softball team has seen some mixed results throughout this season. However, they're currently on a 2-game winning streak right now. If you had to pinpoint a specific game that you and this team have been a part of this season that really shows the potential that this team has, especially towards the latter end of the schedule that's coming up, what would you say that would be?
Probably yesterday. We killed Satan. We have so much potential to do great things, and I have all the faith in the world that we can go to conference still, and because we have the talent to do it. And I believe that everyone can pull together these next few games and continue the winning streak. Yeah, but I think we're a good enough team to go to conference for sure.
There we go. Yeah, 12-0 shutout, which was just cool to see yesterday for you guys.
Yeah, that was an awesome game.
It was. You don't either better a run rule and a shutout. Doesn't get better.
Yeah,
right?
That's a hell of a combo.
I want to talk a little more about you and off the field. You're very involved with the student athletics and at part of the SALC. You're the vice president. Talk a little more about being able to be. Are you the vice president or the president?
No, I'm the president.
The president now. Yeah, I know Tyler Hogan was the president.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little about your involvement with that and being part of, at leadership council, and just, how that has helped you with leadership and using that on the field with softball, but also off the field with, overall helping a governing body of student athletes.
So I just love being involved with the school and making it better. And Tyler was the president at the time, and he asked me if I wanted to be vice president. And so I thought that was a perfect opportunity to get involved and just think of ways to get all the athletes to build relationships with each other. So what we did was the Operation Christmas Child community service project, which was pretty cool. And then our back to the beginning of the year school event, that was a good way to get everyone together. But I just loved being involved because it's cool to make an impact with the school and somehow bring everyone together, because sometimes it's hard to build those friendships with other teams on campus. So I think being involved in creating those opportunities like community service projects or events with the athletes, it's just a cool way to like get involved and be in charge and help out.
Something else that you've been a part of, which is, again, relatively exclusive, is being a representative of Conference USA, the Conference of Champions, if you will. To my knowledge, there are only 2 athletes from each university period that are chosen to be reps to the conference. So how did that opportunity get to you, and how have you been taking advantage of it?
So Julie Berg, our athletic director, she called me one day and she was like, so do you want to be one of the Conference USA reps? I was like, sure, why not? And she sent me out to this conference in Texas. I've gone twice already. But there we learn about things that we can bring back from the conference leaders and like bring back ideas to use at FIU. And we have meetings probably twice a month and through Zoom. And in those meetings, we just talk about ways that we can bring back events or like do community service initiatives or other initiatives like the mental health awareness games. What else? The breast cancer awareness games. Like we always just bring back the ideas that they want for us to use.
Who's the other athlete that's also with you there?
Tyler Hogan, but he just graduated.
Yeah. So it's just you right now?
Yeah.
They're still finding a second member. Oh, man.
We're going to have to find someone new.
Yeah.
Do you actually have a say on who gets invited from FIU?
Now I do, yeah, but not before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you just about your team overall. You know, you guys have a lot of great players. Just if you want to give them a shout out now, some of the girls that maybe aren't spoken of too much to the general public, you know, some of the more underrated players on this team.
So I want to give a shout out to Ashton Lansdell, Michaela Navarro, Casey Goga. It's honestly the whole team. Like everyone deserves a recognition. But there's a lot of players that have made a huge impact this year on the, in our games that isn't really spoken about enough. Like I think Michaela Navarro is one of our clutch hitters, and she's an awesome second baseman and third baseman. And Zamaya McBurrows, she's a freshman this year, and she's doing an awesome job as a freshman. I wish I played like she's doing my freshman year, but she is also one of our clutch hitters. She always comes up with doubles when we need it. I don't even know how many doubles she has, but she's doing an awesome job with that. And Ashton also, she hits bombs all the time. I love watching her play. She's a great player.
Before we wrap up, I need to ask you, because I think you're the only player that doesn't wear a visor or a hat. Just like, is that kind of why is that?
I don't know. Everyone makes fun of me because I just never worn a visor before in my life. So I don't know. And if I do it now, that would just be weird. So
fair enough. I mean, it's always cool to stand out
now at this point.
Yeah, right.
No, I think it's cool. I mean, it's cool to stand out in one way or another from your teammates fashion-wise. I know to bring it to the Florida Panthers because we're all rooting for them. Of course, Matthew Tkachuk always bites his mouthpiece instead of actually using it, which is a little weird, but he makes it cool. So I know a few days ago we had the Rory Awards over on campus. I know you walked out with some hardware. I believe the MVP of the team among maybe some other awards. So just talk a bit about that night, what you saw, and just the overall atmosphere.
Honestly, that night I was so nervous about going up there and speaking because now that I'm the president of SALC, I had to go up there and present some of the awards, and I was just stressed out the whole night worrying about that. But then when I went up, I had no idea I was going to win an award, and when I went up, that was a pretty cool experience, and I'm extremely grateful for those awards that I got. I was not expecting it.
Of course, but I do know, and Johnny can probably confirm this, they do put on a great show over there at the Rory Awards. Yeah,
it was awesome. The videos were cool that they had for us. And the food was great.
Alrighty then, let's as we start to wrap up here, let's do some fun rapid fire questions, as we always like to do to close out these shows. So let's start off with one of the more popular ones that we always say. Who is the funniest player on the team?
Lindsay Burrows.
How? Could you
Why?
provide an example?
Okay. She's really goofy. Always making funny, weird jokes. She won't stop dancing. I'll never see her like not dancing. So she's just a funny player to watch.
Alrighty. What's your favorite place to hang out on campus that isn't your dorm? Because all the athletes love to say that one.
True.
Either the cafeteria, you'll see me in there every day, or the pool. I go there all the time.
I got a unique question. I guess it's not as more rapid fire, but it's something I'm interested in softball. That's the only sport really where, you get the cheering, you get, the little I don't know, the little
chants
in the dugout. Talk a little about that. That's really interesting. I think it's one of those things where you guys all rally together and you guys all have little sayings every time someone's up, at the plate or pitching.
Yeah. Man, I'm not the person to ask on this one. I'm usually like the quiet kid in the dugout, but yeah, but I try my best. I'm just usually the quiet one. But our team gets rowdy, like really rowdy. They say some funny stuff that like I can't even repeat on here. But yeah, we have a lot of cheers that just very entertaining and definitely gets me riled up when I'm up to bat.
Do you guys chirp at the other teams, or it's more just for some getting you guys hyped?
It depends on who we're playing, but most of the time it's to get us hyped. But if the other team, does something to fire us up, we'll definitely give it back.
There you go.
So who on the team is getting the aux and who is not getting the aux?
Definitely Ashton Lansdell is getting aux. She has a fire playlist.
There we go.
Who is not getting aux? Probably me, to be honest.
What's on your playlist?
Yeah, I need to work on it. I'm just stealing songs from all of my teammates all the time.
Okay. What does Larrabee have a playlist?
Ooh.
No, but he needs one. He definitely has his go-to song though that he plays before, like for our warm-ups every day. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely like one of his favorite songs.
Okay, I was wondering because every time you guys go out there for field warm-ups, that's the one that he plays.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Now you and the rest of the team have traveled quite a bit all over the United States in some locations that are very different from that of Florida. What's the coolest atmosphere that you've got to experience outside of obviously here in the 305?
Probably New Mexico State. That wasn't necessarily my favorite place, but it's definitely like the coolest because you saw like all the mountains in the background. That was beautiful. And then we were right near the border of Mexico, and I've never been in New Mexico before. So it was just a cool experience to see. But the elevation definitely got to us the first day. Like we were all like sniffling and getting headaches, but then we got adjusted the second day, and it was a lot better.
Wow.
I would say the elevation did something to the baseball team over the weekend. They had like 61 runs in New Mexico State.
Yeah.
They did.
It makes a difference.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the baseball team, how many of those games have you attended to go to see them, and vice versa? How many games has the baseball team gone softball wise?
I've probably been to almost every home game, unless if we have games, then I can't go, obviously. But like their midweek games, I've been to. But no, they don't come to our games. They need to start coming to our games.
Oh no!
I'm calling them out.
Oh wow!
Calling them out. Well, you know what? They got some great matchups to choose. Obviously, coming up for the softball team, Sam Houston State arriving this weekend. So, hey, baseball guys, if you're watching this,
well, they got a game.
And I know you guys are. So, better start making it out to some softball.
I've seen a few come, but not too many.
Not too much.
Not too many.
Alrighty, before we wrap up, we always ask this to every athlete. Who on the softball team should we have next on the podcast?
Ashton. Yeah, she's definitely a good person to interview. She has a really cool background with her baseball experiences, and just her traveling around the world and doing stuff with that. So she'd definitely be a great person to interview.
Ashton's been your answer for like 3 questions now, so I think it's a bit obvious who we got.
Yeah, she's a great teammate. I love her.
Alrighty, so as we always do, before we wrap up, if you have anything you'd like to say to the fans, to FIU, to anybody, the floor is now yours.
I just want to give a shout out to my teammates. You guys are awesome. And man, who else do I shout out? Oh, Coach B, Coach Myers, everyone else that's part of the softball program. I just want to give you guys a shout out.
Fair enough. So, all right, Bailey, it's been a fun one. Can't thank you enough for stopping by, talking some softball with us. And, yeah, good luck in your upcoming weekend series as the Panthers take on the Sam Houston State Bearcats starting tomorrow at 6 o'clock over at the Felsberg Field. So be there, looking at you baseball players. And that series, by the way, will continue to Saturday at 1 o'clock and then Sunday also at 1 o'clock. The Sunday game is televised on ESPN+. So, again, Bailey, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
So that was Bailey Grossenbacher from the softball team joining us. Again, we can't wish her and the softball team the best of luck as they take on Sam Houston State this weekend. So, fellas, now let's shift our eyes to baseball conveniently as starting tomorrow, they will begin a series against the best team in Conference USA.
Not really.
Maybe a controversial take, but you know what? They have the hardware to prove it.
They do have the hardware.
So it's the Dallas Baptist Patriots in what arguably could be the biggest series, let alone home series, that FIU will have for the remainder of the season. It's been something of a wild ride for FIU baseball, but as of recently, they've played some of their best ball, especially offensively. And Bailey had talked about the elevation difference in that of Las Cruces, New Mexico. And maybe that really did have an impact on the Panthers, who just absolutely obliterated New Mexico State. They currently have a 4-game winning streak. They're 23-17, 10-5 in Conference USA. So things are looking up for the Panthers as they start to close out the regular season. So like I said, I think this is the biggest series thus far for FIU baseball. And who knows, it could be a potential preview for a matchup we see in the CUSA tournament.
No, it really is. I mean, you look at where they are stand. Like for FIU, they're third in the Conference USA standings with a 10-5 record. The 2 teams above them with La Tech and Western Kentucky. Well, Western Kentucky is in first, La Tech in second. FIU has played those teams, and they have the series advantage over them. And right now for FIU, you have a Dallas Baptist team who is 7-5 in conference. They're still a really good team, but haven't played up to the standards in conference play. You have a chance to maybe take a series. It'll be a difficult one, but you have a chance to take a series against them. You have Liberty and Sam Houston. All those 3 games series are, you don't know what's going to go on. But if FIU is able to take a series, the next 3 opportunities, they have a prime opportunity to have a chance at not even a regular season, obviously that's a top 2 seed, but a regular season championship title that they have to have in Conference USA. So right now, FIU is in a really, really good spot. But yeah, you said it, Jake. It's a huge series this weekend for FIU, and really, trying to make some noise because they had a really good weekend in Mexico State. You want to carry it over back at home this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, this is not going to be an easy series for FIU whatsoever. No. This Dallas Baptist team, if you thought FIU hit a lot of home runs, Dallas Baptist is one of the best in the nation in home runs, and they currently lead the conference with 67 home runs. And thankfully, FIU is just right behind them at 58. But again, lead the conference in slugging percentage. Their pitching has to be some of the best in Conference USA, and we'll talk about one of them. But they have the lowest ERA in Conference USA. They are a very well-rounded team, and I think Johnny mentioned it. They may not be at the top of Conference USA, but this was a team just last week who was in the top 25 of the NCAA power rankings, and they were as high as, I believe, 15 or even in the top 10. 7. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're a very, very good team. And, I was talking to Johnny about this yesterday. This is a team that has multiple guys that will probably get drafted. One of them who they will face on Friday Ryan Johnson. That guy's an absolute maniac, but in a really good way. And it's not going to be an easy test for the Panthers, but I think you said it, Jake. They're coming off a very good series against New Mexico State. And I think the biggest thing will be just the adjustment from an elevation stadium like New Mexico State coming back to FIU, which for the most part, it's primarily a pitcher-friendly ballpark. But again, you have to tell yourself how much of the offense are you really going to get. You know, the Panthers still lead the conference in batting average, which is great to see. They're also, you know, at the top in on-base percentage. So they're a very good team. And they got to show it, and they got to show quick adjustments, especially on Friday night.
You know, it's a bit funny. I didn't even acknowledge the fact that there was an elevation difference before Bailey had mentioned it only a few minutes ago. But yeah, by the way, this is I believe this will be the the third time that FIU will take on Dallas Baptist, who, again, a brand new team to Conference USA. They were added in the midst of all the teams leaving and all the teams coming in. For those who don't know, UTEP does not have a baseball team, so Dallas Baptist was kind of the answer to that for Conference USA baseball-wise. They've
been a great addition.
They've been a phenomenal addition, even better than I'm assuming what the higher-ups of Conference USA even thought they would be when they put them into this conference. But anyway, they dropped 2-3 last year against Dallas Baptist. However, that was, of course, in Dallas. Now they'll have to head to the 305. Funnily enough, FIU took on Dallas Baptist all the way back in 2004 in a 3-game series. So it runs deep, surprisingly enough, between the Panthers and the Patriots. But still, the teams have changed, obviously, a lot since 2004, but even more since last year, as the Panthers had an amazing offense last year. But so far this season, this may be the best batting lineup we have seen FIU baseball have in years upon years upon years. What they were able to do against the Aggies, and again, elevation talk, blah, blah, blah. But they have still consistently put up 4, 5, 6, 7 runs per game. And I think that was capped off with back-to-back 18-run games against the Aggies, which is absolutely insane. And obviously, we'll talk a bit more about that later, including Newsbreak. But Armando Becerra having the cycle for the Panthers, the first since 1980, just an absolutely unbelievable achievement for him, and just sort of an amalgamation of how hot this offense has been even before the New Mexico State game.
Oh, you can go, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, you look at last year's lineup, and that was a damn good lineup. I mean, you had Mikey Rosario, you still had Steven Undina for as long as he played there before his injury. You saw Alex Sanchez, Ryan Guida with 50 RBIs, and he has a chance to kind of get to that record, to his personal career high again. I mean, that was a damn good lineup, and a very hot Henry Wallen at times. I mean, it was a good lineup, but I think you said it best, Jake. I mean, a lot of people doubted the Panthers. They had them, I believe, Johnny, you're going to have to correct me here. I think they had them third to last in the conference for baseball. Second to last, even worse. And FIU has been proving everyone wrong. The pitching has had its ups and downs, but there's one thing that's been steady with this team. It's been the offense. I don't think the Panthers have been shut out this year at any point. So I may be wrong with that, but they've been a damn good offense.
I'll double check that just to make sure, but I do think you're correct there. By the way, I think we literally talked in that episode with Ryan Guida. We had talked about that, and Ryan himself said, well, they're not going to be ready for what's coming. And
they were – the stats specifically, they said we were going to be second to last behind New Mexico State. And really FIU has, I think, I even talked, with people, behind the scenes, and they told me that really, it came down. No one knew what this team was. Everyone saw they had so many new additions besides Ryan Guida. You have a guy on Brylan West, a Keyshawn Fred, an Austin Deering, a Jeff LaCory, or nobody knew who these guys were. And they kind of made their first initial thoughts, say, hey, this team has a lot of new additions, not a lot of returners. We'll place them here. But you see how much this team has gelled together, and they're playing great baseball at the right time. You see how well this offense is. And, that's what happens when you have a team that's really new. People make decisions that are, incorrect. And all of a sudden FIU has a chance to have it. Right now, they're currently a top 3 seed. They can be a top 2 seed, which if everything goes well, they can have that chance. And I'm happy to say this team has been fun to watch. They're, they've been gelling at the right time, but there's still pieces that have to be fixed. Hopefully that can be answered as soon as they can before they have, an important conference stretch in a tournament run that they have yet to make since 2018. So that's a lot of good things for us so far.
And it's not just that even. It's, they need to get hot at the right time, and they're hot at the right time. And you still have a lot of games left to be played. And I think I've spoken to this about Coach Witten, who we need to give a lot of credit. He may win Conference USA Coach of the Year. He has a very good chance of doing it.
Yeah.
Another win improvement for the Panthers. As you said, Johnny, first time since 2018, they're probably going to lock themselves.
They will lock it up. Yeah, at this point.
Yeah,
they should. Actually, quickly, Johnny, what are the clinching scenarios there? Are there any this weekend?
It's a little too early. It's too early.
Too early. Okay.
Because fun fact, so a lot of the teams in this league will be playing their final weekend. FIU will be on a non-conference schedule. So essentially, we'll finish our conference late. And we won't know our scenario until we finish against Iowa. So it'll be one of those weird weekends where it's kind of out of our hands. We'll just play Iowa and that's it. So we won't know anything until that Sunday after we finish a 3-game set against Iowa. So a lot of things can happen. But I mean, at this point for FIU, I think you have to think about your fate's out of your hands. Just win as many games as you can. Take it serious.
Yeah. By the way, to fact check what Kevin said earlier, they have not been shut out in a game this season. There have been 3 instances where they were limited to just 1 run scored. The series finale against Notre Dame, the opening game against FAU back in March, as well as their 1-0 win over FAU back in mid-April. So they have not been shut out yet this season, which is absolutely absurd. They were really, I don't think were they shut out last year? I remember having a discussion about this with Jonathan Mayer. They may have been shut out once or twice this last season, but this is the team that just does not get shut out that much. So, and kudos to them. Now, pitching wise, they've had their ups and downs. Of course, the first 2 games against New Mexico State, FIU built these ginormous leads against the Aggies, only for the Aggies to both tie and even take the lead in those matchups. So I'd say that was not a good look for the pitching here at FIU, but granted, they did shut out FAU right before that. So it's been a tale of 2 scenarios for FIU's bullpen and closers so far, but I feel like they're going to have their work cut out for them against this DBU team. This will be the best example of where their pitching is at in Conference USA.
They've faced some pretty good teams already this season. You think of Miami. They've kept that one pretty close for the most part. Whoever started those games, I think it's both been actually David Eckes, who's looked really good. And again, you have to go look back at that game against FAU. That's by far the pitching has looked. I mean, I don't think they've shut out. I would have to look back at the last time FIU shut out a team. It's been a minute. And you look at what Orlando Hernandez has done. I know Johnny made a nice, cool video about him. Ryan Kabarkis was just placed on the national watch list for one of the top relievers in the nation. He's been excellent. Zach Lampton's come out of nowhere and really put a name in, put a stamp on that bullpen, especially in that closing situation. I mean, you've got to give credit where credit is due. There's times his pitching has looked really good. Mm-hmm. And, the starting pitching still has its ways to go. Cameron Knox has looked really good for the most part. But again, Joel Pinero's had his ups and downs, but he's been one of the more consistent guys on that team. Owen Puck, I know he started that Sunday game. He's looked good at times. I know he's been dealing with the Tommy John stuff coming back. He also dealt with a little flare up there, but there's reason to think that he's going to kind of get it going at some point. He's looked really good. You look at that game against FAU, he was really good. So, I mean, this pitching has looked good at its moments, and hopefully they get hot at the right time. And that's really what this Conference USA tournament is going to be about. You win 2 games, I think you're in. So, or 2 in the championship game. And after that, if you win that, you're going probably to the University of Miami to play a couple of
games. By the way, FIU has only been out.
Yeah, never mind.
What, Johnny?
I don't know if you can put Miami in that realm anymore. I mean, that's
dude.
They've kind of fallen off the cliff. You're right.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the hosting site.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't think Miami will host the regional if they don't. They have to make the regional to host the regional.
Oh,
can FIU host it?
Like an idiot.
It's not. Yeah, it's that's what we're saying.
Can FIU host it?
If FIU hosted it.
I mean, FIU, if they want to host it, they better
go undefeated, basically.
You got to win every game to host the regional.
By the way, the only game that FIU has shut out a team was that FAU game on April 16th, 1-0. They haven't shut out another team. However, they did limit Western Kentucky to only a single run back in March. So there you have it.
Yep.
So this series against Dallas Baptist, it's going to be Cameron Knox opening up on the Friday game, which is tomorrow at 6:00, and then it's Joel Pinheiro on Saturday, and then we still don't know for Sunday what either team is going to be bringing out to start the game. So do you like the call of Cameron Knox opening things up? He's currently 1-3, a 3.6 ERA, but he has had his moments so far this season. So do you like the call, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really other options to go to. I would love to see someone like an Evan Allwine step up in this type of scenario. He's looked really good for the most part this season, but again, freshman guy going up again, you're going head to head with arguably a top. He's probably going to go in the second or third round, and Ryan Johnson out of Dallas Baptist. And when we talk a little bit about that squad, I mean, that's a hell of a squad they have over there, especially their pitching staff. But yeah, you got to go with Cam Knox. He's been your guy. He's been the workhorse for this team. Hopefully, he gives you 5 innings, which is really what you need. I don't think a single pitcher is giving you 7 this season. Maybe Joel Pinheiro at some point, but
yeah, he only can go 6 and 2/3.
Yeah, so no one's ever completed the 7th. I don't think you're going to get that with Cam Knox, and hopefully I'm wrong, but you need innings, and you need to conserve your bullpen, especially if you want to use a Ryan Cabarrus or an Orlando Hernandez on that Saturday game, because you're going to need them at the end of the day. You need your best arms out there for this type of a series, and it may not mean as much, but it's just how good of a team Dallas Baptist is. And honestly, you take 2 out of 3, you're essentially locked into this tournament, no matter what scenario, no matter if you're playing Iowa to end the season. I mean, you're kind of locking yourself in, and they still have Liberty coming up, so it's not going to be easy. And I think Sam Houston still. So 3 very good teams.
Kevin, is it time for a quick news break?
It's got to be quick.
It's got to be quick, though. I do have some cool stories here. It is my news break, where we look at all things FIU athletics and just FIU in general. So let's just get right into it. Starting off with what we had talked about a bit earlier, Armando Becerra. He got that cycle against the New Mexico State Aggies. The awards are flowing in for what he was able to do. First off, he was named the Conference USA Hitter of the Week. And I mean, if you hit a cycle in a game, that's pretty much an automatic given. He was also the NCWBA National Hitter of the Week. And as the FIU baseball social media team pointed out, that cycle was in the SportsCenter top 10 the day after it happened against the New Mexico State Aggies. So just a whole lot of good stuff coming his way, and well-deserved for what he was able to do. So congratulations to Armando Becerra. Again, the first cycle since 1980 for the Panthers. Back then, they were still the Sun Blazers. So let's move on now to tennis, and not even just the fact that they're back-to-back Conference USA champions. It's the fact that this past weekend they had an official ribbon opening for the brand new tennis courts on campus. Everyone was there. The president, Scott Carr, everyone was there to welcome in the brand new facilities for the tennis players to use. And of course, they got that sneak peek when they were able to defend their Conference USA championship not that long ago. And of course, we provided coverage for most of that tournament as well. So again, congratulations to them, and hope they the good times keep going for the women's tennis team in their brand new courts. So next up is beach volleyball, who, of course, since we're on the topic of Conference USA tournaments, they beat Missouri State in the first round of their Conference USA tournament, and will take on the FAU Owls on Friday, tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. They are the 3rd-ranked seed. FIU is looking to once again continue their absolutely dominant season so far. They're 21-9 overall, 4-1 in the conference. It's been a good year for them, so we, of course, wish them the best of luck as they look to bring home another Conference USA title. And, of course, the NFL draft is tonight, so, of course, keep an eye out for players from FIU, such as, of course, Donovan Manuel, who had private workouts for both the Miami Dolphins and Atlanta Falcons. He is just one of many players all around the country that's looking to be drafted. It might not happen tonight, but it could happen in the next couple of days as a team looks to get one of the better players that FIU's defense has had for quite some time. Forced fumbles and a season record, among many other things that he was able to do this season. So best of luck to Donovan Manuel as he looks to make it to the big leagues in the NFL. So that was your quick look at Newsbreak. So, there we go. So let's talk a bit about the Dallas Baptist Patriots. They have the best combined ERA of any team in Conference USA right now, 3.89. That's kind of insane. FIU has a 5.41, which is not bad. The Conference USA statistics also point to them having the best overall fielding in the conference. So their pitching rotation, you had mentioned it, they have some major league level ball players in their pitching rotation, and they have some solid batters as well. Who are some of the players that we really need to be keeping eyes on as FIU takes on tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with Ryan Johnson. But, I was talking with some of the baseball guys today, and they're saying that he can be a first-round pick. I mean, just from the standpoint of his numbers, 2.02 ERA, over 100 strikeouts in 71 innings pitched, 2 complete games. He tied his career high in strikeouts last week against St. La Tech, 15 Ks in 6 1/3 innings of work. I mean, this guy is an animal. If you watch him, his mechanics are so unique.
Yeah.
It all starts with the Friday night guy. So he's somebody that I'm really interested to see how FIU attacks because he's been just dominating all year long. So FIU has some work up their hands tomorrow. And then offensively, I mean, you got a lot of, solid studs like a Grant J, who I think will be another, impactful draft pick next year. He's a sophomore. A guy like Miguel Santos, who's a good, veteran. Clayton Krause, who is another really solid hitter who leads the team in RBIs and homers. They have a lot of studs, and I think what makes them so unique is they have a lot of guys offensively that can do a lot of different things. You have a guy that can hit doubles, guys for power, guys for contact, which makes them really, really solid. And I think it's going to be a fun series to see for FIU, and I'm excited to see how they're able to attack against a very solid Dallas Baptist team that has made regionals 9 out of the last 10 years. So it'll be fun this weekend.
Yeah. Yep. Dallas Baptist is as we mentioned, very good opponent currently. 28-11, an 8-6 record on the road, so not a whole lot can be said for their ability to win on the road. 8-6 isn't bad. 7-5 in the conference. They've had some mixed results as the rest of the teams in Conference USA get better and sort of match what they were able to do last season. So, man, it should be a fun series. I know I'll be there for the Friday game. Kevin, will you be able to make one of the games? No.
I'll be watching. I'll be watching on ESPN.
You'll be watching. So. Tomorrow's game is at 6:30 p.m. First pitch. It's over at the FIU Baseball Stadium. Saturday is at 5 o'clock, and then Sunday is at noon. The Friday and Saturday games you can watch on ESPN Plus. The Sunday game will not. However, definitely make it out there because running out of home games for FIU baseball. So if you haven't made it out to the 305, the baseball field here on campus, then now would be a good time to do so. So their next home game after this will be when they host Sam Houston State in May the 10th. So it's going to be a hot minute. So,
but you have the University of Coral Gables not too far off there, and that's technically a home game.
It is technically a home game. That is on May 14th. It is the last home game of the regular season. So,
yep,
lot to look out for.
Left, so.
Yeah. Alrighty then, fellas. Fun episode again. Can't thank Bailey Grossenbacher enough for spending some time with us. She was an awesome guest. Nice to talk some softball, and a lot going on today, a lot going on this weekend. So everyone have fun, watch some good sports, and again, paws up.
Paws up, baby.